1914. Endicott, New York. Thomas John Watson Sr. stood in the office of a small company. The company was called CTR, punch card machines, scales, and clocks. A hodgepodge enterprise born from the merger of three unrelated businesses. Watson stared at the documents on his desk. Three divisions, each pulling in a different direction. No focus, no direction. A single question rose within him. What can this company become? Let's step back in time. 1911. Endicott, New York. The company holding Herman Hollerith's punch card machines merged with a scale manufacturer and a clockmaker. That was the birth of CTR. The business was diversified, but vision was missing. Charles Flint, the banker who arranged the financing, saw value in the company, but he needed a leader who could bring that vision to life. That's when Watson appeared. The first thing Watson tackled was people. He declared, "What this company sells isn't machines, it's solutions." Then he wrote a single word on a blackboard. Think. Just 5 letters. And think gradually became the rallying cry of Watson's management philosophy, weaving itself into the fabric of the company culture. Watson forged his sales force into something extraordinary. Courtesy, clean attire, absolute dedication to the customer. While competitors sold machines, CTR sold trust. 1924. Watson changed the company's name. From CTR to International Business Machines, IBM. Ambition was embedded in that name. International. They were looking at the world. Business machines, a declaration not just to build machines, but to transform business itself. What did Watson feel on the day he chose that name? The records say little, but according to accounts from that era, he told his employees, "From today, we set our sights on the world." 1929. The Great Depression swallowed America whole. Companies collapsed one after another, factories shuttered, the streets filled with the unemployed. But Watson made the opposite call. He kept the factories running. He refused to lay off workers. He continued investing in research, development, and talent. His executives raised their voices. "Sir, we cannot sustain this. The company will not survive." Watson would not back down. According to IBM's historical records, Watson's thinking went something like this. The Depression will end. When it does, we'll be the only ones ready to deliver supply and implementation support at speed. That conviction was about to be tested. 1935. President Franklin D. Roosevelt signed the Social Security Act. The records of millions of Americans suddenly needed to be managed. The government was at a loss. That's when Watson stepped forward. IBM's punch card machines took on this monumental task. Millions of employment records were processed through IBM's machines. Watson's decision to keep investing through the Depression had finally paid off. Maintaining employment and sharpening their technology had opened the door to becoming the government's most essential partner. People said, Watson was just lucky. But was it really luck? 1939. The world was marching toward war once again, and IBM would take on a new role. Ballistic calculations, support processing for code breaking, military logistics management. IBM's machines became the infrastructure of wartime operations. According to IBM's historical records, Watson directed the company to keep profits low as part of its wartime contribution. The technical capabilities and government trust forged during those years became the foundation that launched IBM into the post-war era. When the war ended in 1945, IBM was no longer just a machine manufacturer. It had become an indispensable partner to the United States government. 1952. Father to son. Thomas John Watson Jr. inherited the presidency of IBM. Before him lay an enormous challenge. A technology that no one had yet fully grasped, the computer, was beginning to appear on the horizon. His father's generation had lived in a world of mechanical punch cards. But the son had a conviction. Electronic computers will change everything. But conviction is easy. The question was how to change it. April 7, 1964. Poughkeepsie, New York. The press filled the hall. Watson Jr. stood on stage and gestured toward the massive machine behind him. System/360. This was no ordinary new product. Until then, every purpose required a different computer. Scientific computing, business processing, each demanded its own separate system. System/360 changed that. A single architecture that handled every application. From small machines to large, the same software ran on all of them. This idea gave birth to the concept of compatibility in the computer industry. According to IBM's historical records, the investment in this project reached a scale of billions of dollars, unprecedented at the time, a bet the company gambled. Failure meant bankruptcy. The System/360 bet paid off. Companies switched to IBM one after another. Banks, insurance companies, airlines, government agencies. Owning a mainframe became the mark of a modern enterprise. Through the 1960s and 70s, IBM built a dominant position in the mainframe market, giving rise to the phrase, IBM and the rest. Competitors were mockingly dubbed Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. IBM was Snow White. Everyone else was a dwarf. The world's most powerful company. It didn't take long before that title became theirs. But those who stand at the top often lose sight of something. The seeds of change growing beneath their feet. August 12, 1981. IBM unveiled the personal computer. The IBM PC swept through the market almost overnight. The IBM brand made buying a PC a safe choice for corporations. But this product had a fatal structural flaw. IBM had rushed the PC to market. To do so, they turned to outside components. The processor came from Intel. For the operating system, they turned to a small software company. That company's name was Microsoft. A startup of barely 30 employees, led by a 26-year-old named Bill Gates. According to James Cortada's book, IBM, The Rise and Fall and Reinvention of a Global Icon, the terms of this deal allowed MS-DOS to be licensed far beyond IBM to other PC makers as well, giving Microsoft an ever-tightening grip on the industry. IBM's team didn't grasp the implications. The more PCs IBM sold, the richer Microsoft and Intel became. When other manufacturers began building IBM-compatible PCs, IBM found itself at a disadvantage. Commodore, Compaq, Toshiba, using IBM's architecture to build cheaper PCs again and again. IBM had created its own industry standard and handed the rewards to everyone else. By the late 1980s, one analyst wrote, "The true winner of the IBM PC era was not IBM. Intel's stock kept climbing. Microsoft's revenue exploded. Inside IBM, no one took responsibility." That was the warning sign before the storm of the 1990s. And as the 1990s arrived, the storm hit. The mainframe market began to crumble. As distributed computing spread, corporations no longer needed expensive mainframes. Connecting cheap servers over a network was cheaper and more convenient. The mainframes that had supported more than half of IBM's revenue began to collapse. In the boardroom, the arrows on the charts pointed downward, year after year, at a steep angle. Everyone felt it. This is not temporary. But no one had the answer. In the early 1990s, IBM posted massive losses year after year. IBM's annual reports laid bare the scale of the damage. The world began to sense IBM's obituary was being written. Wall Street analysts wrote, "IBM no longer needs to exist as a single company. It should be broken up." The think sign that had stood at the entrance of IBM's headquarters for 80 years since the company's founding remained there still. But now, those words sounded like bitter irony. 81 years. A company that had risen from punch cards to the pinnacle of the mainframe era. Its end was beginning to come into view. The board had lost faith in leaders from within. They looked outside for a savior. That person would come from beyond the computer industry entirely. April 1st, 1993. Lou Gerstner pushed open the door of IBM headquarters. He came from RJR Nabisco, a tobacco and food company. He was no computer expert. The employees murmured, "Why is a man who sold cookies our CEO?" The media was skeptical. But Gerstner could see something those inside IBM could not. In the days after taking office, he declared, "There are no plans to break up IBM." Those words ran counter to everything Wall Street expected. But Gerstner had seen through to something essential. IBM's true value lies in its ability to integrate everything. The first thing Gerstner did was meet customers. Shortly after becoming CEO, he personally visited major clients. The customers all said the same thing. IBM's products are good, but there's no one to help us. It's too complex. We need someone to integrate it all. Those words set Gerstner's course. Transform IBM into a services company. Not selling hardware, solving companies' IT problems. Not selling products, delivering solutions. In the early 1990s, IBM consolidated and expanded its existing service capabilities, building IBM Global Services into a core business. This was a revolution, but the resistance from within was fierce. "We are a company that sells machines, not consultants," Gerstner answered. "What customers want is answers, not machines." But transformation came with pain. Between 1993 and 1994, Gerstner executed a massive restructuring. In the early 1990s, IBM carried out sweeping workforce reductions, dramatically shrinking the organization. IBM had once prided itself on lifetime employment. Join IBM and you have a job for life that had been IBM's culture. That myth was shattered. In his memoir, Who Says Elephants Can't Dance?, Gerstner would later write, "No decision I made was more painful than that, but without it, there was no saving the company." After the pain came change, and change began to produce results. IBM Global Services grew rapidly. Companies were struggling with the complexity of IT. IBM was the most trusted partner to solve that problem. 1994, 1995, 1996. The performance charts turned slowly upward. The stock price recovered. Wall Street began to reassess IBM. Gerstner pulled off a miracle. The voices grew louder. But Gerstner rejected that framing. In his memoir, he wrote, "It was no miracle. I listened to customers and responded to what they needed." 2002. Lou Gerstner had revived IBM over 9 years and passed the baton. Sam Palmisano took over as the new CEO. The challenge Palmisano faced was different from Gerstner's. IBM was no longer in crisis. But where was the next battlefield? His answer was clear. Focus on high-value businesses. We will not compete on price. In 2004, IBM announced the sale of its PC business to Lenovo. The PC division generated around $10 billion in annual revenue, but margins were thin. IBM divested that business and concentrated its resources on higher-value territory. The world was stunned. IBM is getting out of PCs? But Palmisano said, "We are not a PC company. We are a problem-solving company." February 2011. Americans held their breath in front of their televisions. IBM's AI system, Watson, went head-to-head against the all-time champions of the quiz show Jeopardy! According to a paper in the IBM Journal of Research and Development, Watson processed natural language, evaluated candidates from vast stores of knowledge, and generated answers, a system of remarkable precision. It was not pure understanding, yet its accuracy surpassed that of the human champions. IBM declared, "AI will transform business." This looked like a new dawn. But the reality was far more complicated. The battlefield of AI and cloud was fiercer than anyone had anticipated. Amazon's AWS was dominating the cloud market. Microsoft Azure was closing the gap fast. IBM was falling behind. Through the 2010s, IBM's growth stagnated and shareholder frustration mounted. Watson was deployed in healthcare AI and business AI. But the revolutionary breakthroughs initially promised were slow to materialize. Chairman Jeannie Rometty was once asked by a reporter, "Isn't IBM falling behind in the AI race?" She answered, "We're focused on enterprise AI, not consumer AI." That direction would eventually produce one clear answer. 2019. IBM completed what was, at the time, the largest acquisition in its history, approximately $34 billion. Red Hat, an open-source Linux company. This was no ordinary acquisition. IBM placed its bet on hybrid cloud, the market bridging existing enterprise systems with the cloud. Large enterprises cannot move everything to the cloud overnight. Security, regulation, and integration with legacy systems all demand attention. Becoming the company that supports that hybrid world, that was IBM's new strategy. In 2020, Arvind Krishna became the new CEO. He deepened the focus on cloud and AI even further. In 2021, the Infrastructure Services Division was spun off as Kyndryl. By shedding what no longer served, protect what matters most, that judgment was made once again. 2023. The wave of generative AI swept through the business world. ChatGPT arrived, and companies raced to adopt AI. But many began to realize something. Having a powerful AI and being able to use it safely in an enterprise are two different problems. IBM offered one answer to that question: Watson X. According to IBM's newsroom announcement in May 2023, Watson X was an enterprise platform integrating generative AI, foundation models, and AI governance. Trustworthiness, transparency, auditability. Those were the competitive pillars of Watson X. Not consumer AI, but AI that enterprises can actually use. IBM, having bet on that direction all along, began to reassert its presence in the age of generative AI. Looking back, IBM's 110 years have been a continuous story of transformation. From punch cards to mainframes. From mainframes into the PC era. From PC business to services company. And from hardware to cloud and AI. 5 major transformations. Many companies vanished somewhere along that journey. Kodak clung to photographic film. Blockbuster clung to DVD rental. Sears clung to retail stores. IBM kept dismantling its current self, again and again. In Gerstner's memoir, these words appear: refusing to change is the greatest risk of all. In quantum computing, IBM is developing processors exceeding 1,000 qubits, placing it among the handful of companies leading the world. In generative AI, Watson X is helping IBM reclaim its presence in the enterprise market. The results are not yet in, but IBM is changing again. So what can we learn from this story? The reason IBM survived 110 years. It was not technology, formidable sales power, building relationships with government, the DNA of solving customer problems, and above all, the courage, in times of crisis, to doubt one's current self. In Gerstner's memoir, these words are written: IBM was nearly dead, but customers still needed IBM. That was the driving force behind the transformation. Success breeds complacency. Complacency breeds blindness. Blindness breeds decline. That is the fate of every organization. But only those with the resolve to dismantle their current self can break that cycle. Now, I want to ask you something. History only tells us outcomes, but those who lived it made their decisions without knowing how it would end. If you were a leader at IBM in 1993, would you have protected the mainframe business or destroyed it? And right now, in your own work or your own life, where are you drawing the line between what to protect and what to dismantle? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Why do companies rise, fall, and rise again? Here on Blueprint of Giants, we unearth the blueprints of transformation left by giants like IBM, those who survived for over a century, digging into the hidden backstage of history. If these stories inspire you, subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss the moment a decision changed everything. Until next time,